So, organizing chapter 5, part 2 of business studies. What we are going to learn today is about the organizational structure. Now, we can say that organizational structure is divided into two, that is functional and divisional, and we also have, or we are also going to cover formal and informal organization in this session. When you want to expand your business, it is very important that you will have to improvise on your organization structure. So an organization grows, whenever it grows, we need to update or upgrade the structure. Like let's say if there is a small shop and there is an owner, now he might have only 2 or 3 assistants. So his organization structure is very small. But when we talk about the bigger enterprises, obviously they have a set of divisional or functional people who are working in proper hierarchy. Now that hierarchy has to be changed with the period of time if your company is expanding or growing, and coordination plays very important role in organization structure. So as an organization grows, coordination becomes very difficult due to emergence of new functions and increase in structural hierarchy. So if we want that our organizations should function smoothly, irrespective of all the economic changes or political changes, in short, irrespective of all the environmental changes, it becomes necessary to pay attention or to focus on the structure of the organization. So organization structure is of course very important part of any management, and if there is any wrong structure, it will impair the business performance and it will even sometimes damage the success of your business. So we can say that organization structure can be defined as framework within which managerial and operating tasks are performed. Irrespective of which department you belong to, organization structure plays an important role. So it also specifies the relationship between the people, work, and resources. Be it any resource, whether it's a human resource or a physical resource or financial resource. Of course, when we talk about organizational structure, now span of management plays a very important role, because span of management is the one which gives the shape to your organization. Now, what is span of management? It means the number of subordinates that can be effectively managed by a superior. Like let's say, for example, if I'm the boss and if 100 people are working under me, it becomes very difficult to manage all the 100 employees at a time. I would obviously appoint either an assistant or a manager who can actually take care of these people. So what am I going to do? I'm going to divide my responsibility. I'm going to give some amount of authority to the superior who's appointed to take care of the various employees. So span of management means how well a person or a manager can manage the number of subordinates. See, let's say, for example, if I'm appointing Utsav as a manager of my company. Now, I know that I have 200 employees working in my company. It's not possible for Utsav alone to manage those 200 employees. I'll have to deploy another, 2-3 people on depending on the departments which they have to handle. Now, again, there would be more 2-3 people who are working under Utsav or who are answerable to Utsav. So this way, it's very important to take care that how well or how much number of subordinates you can effectively manage. Like if you give me only, let's say, for example, 20 to 30 employees or the subordinates which I have to manage, my job would be easier. But if I have been asked to take care of more than 100 subordinates at a time, it won't be effective. Now, a proper organization structure is essential to ensure the smooth flow of communication. We can take the same example as I said, that if I have only, let's say, 20 to 30 people which are manageable, which are effectively, I can manage effectively. then my communication channel will be very smooth with them. But if I have more than 200 people to take care of at the same time who are going to report to me or who are my subordinate, then there might, be a problem of communication gap, and there might be a problem of controlling or decision making. So it's very important that organization structure has to be framed or structured in such a way that there is a good and smooth flow of communication, and the control over all the operation of business is effective. Now, what are the types of organization structure? We can say there are two types of organization structure, that is functional and divisional. Before going into the details of this, functional and divisional, I would like to give you an example of organizational structure. Like, let's say, for example, if I am the managing director of my company, I'm just giving you an example of organization structure. I am the manager, I'm the CEO or managing director of my company. Now, under me, there is a general manager who's the next authoritative person after me. He's taking care of the overall business. Under manager, we have various departmental heads, like we have HR head, finance, purchase head or purchase manager, or production, quality, research and development. Under them, we have assistant managers. Under assistant managers, we have supervisors. Under supervisors, we have employees or foremen. So this is the overall organization structure of any company. We can, roughly be taken for an example. Now, if we move on to the functional structure, the name itself suggests that functional structure means grouping of jobs of similar nature under functional and organizing these major functions as a separate department. Of course, all the department report to coordinating head. Like, let's say, for example, here I have just framed a functional structure example for you people. We have managing director. Let's say managing director is Yash Purohit. So under that, we have different departments like human resource department, R&D, marketing, purchasing, and finance. Now, we have segregated the work among all these people. Let's say the head of HR is Hitanshu, the head of R&D is Isha, marketing head is Nikita, purchasing is Sahil, and finance head is Astha. So all these people are going to report to Yash Purohit, who is the managing director of the company. Now, this structure is known as a functional structure because I have divided the similar jobs into the department. So each department, that is HR, R&D, marketing, each department is going to take care of their own function, which are of similar categories or similar jobs. I hope you're clear with this functional structure. Now, what are the advantages of this functional structure? A functional structure leads to occupational specialization, which means, let's say, for example, if whenever we divide the work or whenever there is allocation of task and responsibility and authority, if, let's say, if I have been asked to take care of recruitment or hiring people, which means I have been doing the same task again and again, obviously I'm going to specialize in that particular area because I have been doing that job since years. So functional structure will lead to occupational specialization. Secondly, it promotes control and coordination. Now, how does it promote the control and coordination? When all the activities are divided according to your job profile, your experience, your education, your skills, etc., it would be easy to control and coordinate all the activities because similarity, you're divided or you're being given the responsibility according to your job profile or according to your skills and knowledge. Thirdly, it helps in increasing managerial and operational efficiency. Now, obviously, see, when you're specialized into one particular operation or activity, you'll become specialized into that particular area. ultimately what will happen? It will improve your efficiency. If I'm doing the same job again and again for the last 10 years, I am going to master that field. So ultimately, my efficiency in that particular field will increase, and that efficiency would lead to profit or increased profit for the organization. The another advantage of functional structure is that it leads to minimal duplication of effort. Now, why there is minimum duplication of effort? Because when I'm doing the functional structure, which means that I'm dividing the work according to your skill, knowledge, efficiency, etc., or experience, background, education. Now, every task, every activity has been divided among the various people. So everybody is clear as to what has to be done and who is to do that activity. So there is no duplication of work. Another advantage is that functional structure makes training of employee easier. The reason is, now if in an organization everybody is assigned with the task that as to who is to do what, who is to report whom, what has to be done, when it has to be done. Now when there is a clarity in the communication, when there is a clarity in command or direction, it will help the employee to groom their self, be specialized in that area, and it will be very easy for the superior employee in a easier way, because now because of training these employees, it will be easier for them to focus only on their targeted task or activity. Advantage is that it ensures that different functions get due attention. Now, as I said, that different activities are allotted, or there is a work, allocation of work is very clear. So this will help the employees to focus only in their activity. Now, when we talk about the disadvantage of functional structure, the first disadvantage is that it places less emphasis on overall enterprise objective than the objective pursued by the functional head. Obviously, because you are only focusing on fulfilling the objective which has been instructed as by your functional head. But what about the organizational objective? Ultimately, when you're working in an organization, your goal is to fulfill the objective of your organization. So that is lacking. Now, another disadvantage is that it may lead to problems in coordination, as information has to be exchanged across functionally differentiated departments. Now, as we saw the structure, there are various different departments. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to coordinate all the different departments and take them or lead them into the same direction. Like, let's say, for example, as I had shown you in the functional structure, that we have HR department, we have R&D, we have marketing, we have finance. Now, all these departments, if they don't move parallelly in with coordination to achieve the objective, if there is, a communication gap, or if there are clashes between the department, then it may lead to damage, or it may affect the profit of the organization. Next one is a conflict of interest may arise. Just now I gave you an example. If there is no coordination between the department, conflict of interest may arise, which is ultimately going to affect the production and output and profit of the organization. Sometimes it may lead to inflexibility. See, in functional structure, you have been asked to, do particular activity or particular job. So it becomes very difficult that you certain times you cannot make changes, because you have to go as per the command of your superiors. Now let's talk about divisional structure. Now when we say divisional structure, the organization structure comprises of separate business units and divisions. Now it's not necessary that one particular company is engaged only into one product line of business. Like, let's say, for example, Reliance or Tata, they are into various separate business units or division. Like Tata, they are also into the gold, that is, Tanishq, which is again part of Tata Group. They are also into watches, they are also into automobiles, they are also into the food, they are also into FMCG. So these are the different division or different business units. So the another form of organizational structure is divisional structure. Now each unit, that is, let's say for example FMCG unit or automobile unit or a division, so each unit has a divisional manager who is responsible for performance and who has the authority over the unit. Like let's say for example, if Titan, which is a part of Tata Group, is being handled by Shoaib, he is the divisional manager for that particular business unit or particular business division. Now if we talk about automobile industry, let's say Palak is the manager or divisional manager for that particular unit or business division. So this way we have divisional structure. So every divisional manager is responsible for the performance of that particular unit. If let's say for example, if automobile industry is not able to pull out profit for the past 3 years, now who would be responsible or answerable? Of course the divisional manager, that is Palak, because she is in charge of that whole unit or business unit. So each unit has divisional manager who's responsible for performance and who has the authority over the whole unit. Now, when we talk about manpower, that is the employee or labor, manpower is grouped on the basis of different products manufactured. So different products are divided into different business units. Now within each division, the functional structure tends to be adopted. I have given you one example of simple sample of divisional organizational structure. We can see here as to there is a president, product A, B, C, D, which means product A, we can, let's say automobile industry, product B, we can say plastic industry, product C, we can say garment industry. Now, all these are the divisions, product line are different, but they are part of the same company or same group. So, president, like let's say Reliance, let's take an example of Reliance. So, who's the president or chairperson or CEO? Let's say Mukesh Ambani. Under that, we have different business units. Now, each business unit is being taken care by the different divisional manager. And under them, we have various departments. Like let's say product A will have research, marketing, accounting, finance, HR, etc. So this is the sample of divisional organizational structure. I have also made an organizational structure for your easy understanding. If you would see your screen, let's say managing director of one particular business, Reliance is Om Patel. Under that, we have now Om Patel is the managing director of, let's say, Om Group of companies. Now, under Om Group of companies, we have different division, because Om Patel being a managing director, he has expanded his business into various lines of products. He has cosmetic industry, garment industry, footwear industry, automobile industry, skincare. Now, let's say for example, if Utsav is the divisional manager for cosmetic industry, garment, let's say Molly is the divisional manager for footwear, let's say Siddharth, automobile, Ayushi, for skincare, we have Keshav, who's the divisional manager for that particular business unit. So this is the divisional unit or divisional structure of organization. Now, every division would have various sub-function. Like I've just given you example for one particular industry. Same will go on further with all the business units, be it cosmetic, be it automobile, or be it skincare. Like let's say for example, we have footwear industry. Now under footwear, we have HR manager, R&D, marketing, finance, and purchase, which is being handled by, let's say, Naman, Mittal, Dev, Rhythm, and Masood. So these are the different functional manager. Now, if you observe this organization structure, what do you observe? Is it not a combination of divisional and functional also? Because every divisional has a various functional structure. So the way we have for footwear industry, HR, R&D, marketing, similarly, same would go on with all the business units. Now, what are the advantages of this divisional structure? The first one is product specialization, because we are dividing the division or business unit into different areas. So if, let's say for example, over here, if cosmetics industry is being taken care by Utsav, or footwear industry is being taken care by Siddharth, then they know that they are the one who are responsible for that particular unit. So they would have product specialization, which would ultimately help in the development of varied skills. It also provides a proper basis for performance measurement. Measurement of performance becomes very easy, because now over here, every work is allotted. So you know that who is to do what, which function has to be performed by which employee. So that would help to measure the performance of the organization well. It would also promote flexibility and initiative. Now, why it would promote flexibility? Because every person is being assigned with particular task or particular activity. So they can be more creative in terms of getting the job done. Because ultimately, the goal of every person who's performing any task or operation in the business, their main motive is to fulfill the objective of the organization. Now, this will also help in expansion and growth of the business. Now, what are the disadvantages of divisional? The first disadvantage is that conflict may arise among the different division with reference to allocation of funds. Now see, as I said, we took the same example. Let's say Om Patel is the owner now of that particular group of companies. He has to allot the fund for every business unit, because he has to invest money into all the business unit, be it garment industry, be it cosmetic or footwear or skincare. Now, allocation of fund, if more fund is allocated in garment industry and the less fund is allocated in the other business unit, there might be conflict, because when you invest more, it would be easy for you to get more output in terms of result or in terms of profit. So conflict might arise among the different division with reference to allocation of fund. It may also lead to increase in cost, since there may be duplication of activity across the product. Now see, as we saw the whole structure, I told you that every business unit division will have different functions. And those, like let's say for example, cosmetic industry will also have HR, marketing, finance and production. Similarly, footwear industry will also have HR, finance, marketing and various similar functions. Now, there might be duplication of activity, because ultimately they all are belonging to the same group of companies. Now, in course of time, a manager may gain power, and in a bid to assert his independence, he may ignore organizational interest. Sometimes what happens when you have too much of power or authority, ultimately you might get distracted from achieving the organizational goal. And you might focus only on the divisional or one particular functional unit goal, which is again not good for the organization. So this is it for today. And in the next session, we are going to learn about formal and informal organization.